Hi everyone, this is your podcast host Ramasha, and I'm in my final semester studying Master of International Business at Monash University, Malaysia. And today we are here with our guest, Dr. Herbary Cheung. Hi, Dr. Herbary.
Yeah, hello, good morning, Ramasha. Nice to meet you.
Good morning to you too, Doctor. Let me do a quick introduction for Dr. Herbary for those of you who may not know who he is. Born, raised, and educated in the States, Thailand, Singapore, Taiwan, and Hong Kong, Dr. Herbary received his PhD in Asian and Policy Studies from the Education University of Hong Kong under the prestigious Hong Kong PhD Fellowship Scheme from the Research Grants Council of Hong Kong. Trained as a feminist sociologist and Southeast Asianist, his research engages with gender and migration, family, marriage and health, intersectionality and contextual mobility, focusing on Hong Kong Southeast Asia connections. He is a lecturer in gender studies at Monash University, Malaysia. Let me quickly mention a few of his publications that he has also put out. These are two of his articles that I'll be mentioning. One of them is titled From Thailand to Hong Kong, Reinventing Womanhood in the Journeys of Migrant Women. And the second one being Redefining Stigmatization, Intersectional Stigma of Single Mothers in Thailand. All right, moving on to the question for you today, Doctor. First, I would like to ask you, you have written two articles on Thai women, one on single mothers and the other on their migrant experience in Hong Kong. What are these articles about?
Okay, yeah, so the first article I'm writing based on my ethnographic studies and the Thai migrants, especially the Thai female migrants community here in Hong Kong. So I'm trying to look in along the journey from Thailand to Hong Kong, how those Thai women trying to reinvent their womanhood in the journeys of transnational migration. So as we know, the gender affect how the people socialize and how the people looking at themselves. So for those women, so after moving from Thailand, which is their home country, to Hong Kong, which is a whole societies, because the social, the cultural, the economic, all the norms has been changed. So how they trying to negotiate from the Thai woman to be a Thai woman in Hong Kong. So I'm trying to looking at their gender identities, their gender norms, and how everything, their life experience here in Hong Kong. So it's more, more like the migration studies, but from the gender perspective. So the second paper, I'm trying to study how the Thai single mothers, their life experience, how they face the challenges, the marginalizations, the stigmatizations, also the discriminations as a single mother, different types of single mother in Thai societies. Because I did my ethnographic research back to 2019 to 20, which is in the COVID-19, the pandemic. So it's allowed me to have more chance to see what is their real life challenges. Because as a single mother, on one hand, you have to make the money to feed your family, to feed your kids. On the other hand, all the school has been closed down and probably they lose their job. So how they have to take care of their children, to take care of themselves as well. So in that paper, I'm also trying to look at the stigmatization from their self, the family and friends, the communities. The last is the states, the institutional perspective, how they face the different multi-layers of the stigmatization in Thailand from the intersectional perspective. That means not only because of their single mother, but their stigmatization also related to the age, generation, education, or their ethnicities, everything, the lens of the intersectionalities. So yeah, that's all my two papers about. Yeah, it's focused on the Thai woman, but different issues from the different perspective. So one is a Thai woman in Hong Kong, another is a Thai single mother in Thailand. Yeah.
Yes, I think both of them are very interesting. I know that migration itself is quite hard journey, and both of your articles were really interesting to read. So let me go with the second question. What prompted you to work on Thai women or on this line of topics?
It's all the start of my research, because every time when people asking like, oh, where you come from, what's your story? It's a quite a bit difficult to me to answer directly, so I have to repeat my story because I was born in the States. My mom is Chinese, my dad is Thai Chinese. So I was born in the States, but grew up in Thailand. I mean, in Singapore, in Taiwan, here in Hong Kong, but soon in Malaysia. So it's a long story. That's why I always think about who am I. So what is my identities? So, grew up in the multicultural societies. So probably we call the third culture case. So it's a problem for myself. So in Hong Kong is also considered as a migrant society. So we have a lot of of course, I mean, it's majority are Chinese, but we do have under the former British colonies. And also, we do have a lot of the migrant workers, the domestic workers from Southeast Asia, Philippines, Indonesia. And we also, because of the historical reasons, we also have some ethnic minorities from South Asia, like Pakistan, India, Bangladesh, or Sri Lanka. So, yeah, I mean, live in this kind of societies. So you always meet the different people. You always hear the different story. So that makes you starting to wondering so who you are and trying to think about your story. So what makes me want to start the story of Thai migrants here in Hong Kong, mostly because of when people thinking about the migrants from Southeast Asia, like the Indonesians or the Filipino, because they're all kinds of the migrant workers, I mean domestic helpers. It's considered as the labor workers, more like the lower class, I mean, in Hong Kong. So the local people has a lot of the stereotypes towards them. But in my case, I find it's very interesting because when I conduct my research, this research is in 2016-17, there are roughly around 11,000 Thai people here in Hong Kong, and 8,800 are the women. So among them, 80% of them, they are not the domestic workers. They are considered as the normal migrants as others. So many of them actually they come to Hong Kong just as other migrants. So through marriage, education, the professional, the expat, the works. So it makes starting to think about probably I just need to make their story to be heard. So to show the people, even they are from the Southeast Asia, which consider less developed than Hong Kong, but who believe they are also kind of the middle class migrants. So just trying to present some different stories to the people of Hong Kong to change the stereotypes. Also trying to study this under studied the population. That's the starting point of my research on the Thai migrants women here in Hong Kong. So the second one is the Thai single mothers. So, as a male researcher to study a group of the women. So as long as I carry out my research, I find out, they are very like the diverse, the different types of subgroups of the women. So their life experience is different. So their life experience is not homogeneous. So we need to, spend time. We need to know their individual life experience and stories. So that's why starting my second project on the Thai woman, I spent like 1 year to live in Thailand, to follow their life, to spend time with their kids, their families. Also, I do have experience. I have a chance to visit their working place, so to know how the life, especially under the COVID-19, how hard is the life for the single mothers in Thailand, and also how the different people, like their friends, their families, and also how other single mothers looking at them in Thai society. The most importantly, I want to start it from the institutional, perspective to see how the Thai government policies trying to help or trying to exclude those single mother in their policy agendas, how the government's perspective to looking at single mother. That's a starting, that's the intention of my research.
Right. That is actually really interesting. I mean, like basically taking your upbringing and kind of putting it onto your work kind of shows that how you have articulated those articles as well. which is really nice. And the fact that you lived there just to get the whole experience and get the exposure with the people so that you could give your own opinions, which is really, really interesting, Doctor. The next one would be, what challenges did you experience in doing these research projects, and probably how did you overcome them?
Yeah, I mean, that's a really a good question because if you're doing the ethnographic study, if you're doing the gender studies, there are a lot of challenges during your field work. I mean, especially you have to spend like the long time to intensive to live with the group of the people you study. I mean, in my case, as a young male researchers, to spend a long time with a group of the women, especially the what we call the marginalized or the vulnerable group of the people. So I think most the challenge I face, the first I have to say is the trust. So like the stranger come to your life. So why should I share my life stories with you? For what purpose? Because there are a lot of kinds of research nowadays. Some people, they really want to help the people for the social justice or for the equities or for the diversity. But, some other people probably they just come to study the group of the people to get what they want. Then the left, the people come to study of the people with a different intention. Because, I mean, yeah, apart from my academic position at Monash, I'm also a executive committee member of one NGO in Hong Kong. We call the HKSASR, which is the Hong Kong Society for Asylum Seekers and the Refugees. Yeah, so I'm working with a group of the asylum seekers and refugees. So I think the trust is the most important, especially we are now in the societies. I think we don't trust each other. We don't trust the government, I have to say. So it's difficult for you to build the mutual trust with the people you want to study. You need to show your sincere. You need to show your honest to let them accept you. I mean, for my case, it takes time, I have to say. So, but there is one moment I feel, I have really been fully accepted by the single mother community. Is yeah, I have to say, yeah, COVID-19 probably bring us a lot of challenges, the hardship, but COVID-19 also brings out some like opportunities because at that time all the school has been closed. The case study has become the problem. The single mother sometimes have to working hardly. I mean, to earn their living, they have to working. They have no time to take care of the kids. So in my case, some of the single mothers say, "Could you please just help my kids with their study?" I said, "No, yeah, I mean, yeah, it's my pleasure and no problem." So at the time, I have been like the tutor for their kids for like a few months. So it's from their kids they tell their mother, say, "Oh, he's really helpful and he's really kind and nice." So I mean, from their case, I become the friends with their case first. So later, the single mother is starting to think, "Oh, hey, maybe he's we should accept him." So I think it's one single mother. She invites me to have dinner with her ex-husband. Then they are starting to share the story to me, like how they get married and how they are divorced. So I feel I have been really accepted by them. So I think at the moment, the trust has been established. Yeah. So the first is the trust. And second is the ethical issues. The people always think about as a researcher, probably we are in the high power. So when you study a group of the woman probably who has no power, so how you trying to do no harm, do not, cause their trauma, also do not bring any psychological, the negative consequence to them. So of course, we need to follow the ethical guidelines from different institutions, like in Hong Kong or like in Monash. So before you starting your research project, you need to get the ethical approval from the committees to make sure everything is under the guidelines. So everything is meets the ethical, standards. But of course, there are a lot of things which will happen in your, research, in your field work. So yeah, just to share some stories, like in my case, some single mothers, yeah, it's my first time to see a real gun. It's a single mother. She showed me she has a gun. I was so shocked. I said, so why do you want to have a gun? She said, because I think people will abuse me. They will bully me as a single mother. So I bought this gun, but I don't know how to use it. I just want to show them I have it. So as a sample, they know, they cannot, bully me. So just for me to protect myself. So also sometimes, there are a lot of issues, right? Especially like some single mothers, probably they tell you something which may not allowed by the law or allowed by the recognized to be allowed by the social cultural norms. So it's you, how you trying to look at yourself. So whether you should, write those things in your articles, or because a single mother trusts you, so they share the thing with you, or you should just to protect themselves, then you should trying to keep it as a secret. So it's more like the ethical issues. So the ethical, between you and the group of the people you study, or yourself displaying your own ethicals, how you deal with the different kinds of the issues, how you face the different kinds of dilemmas. So I will say the second, the issue is I think the third one I will say is it's a power relations. Yeah, I'm also trying to think about as a male researcher, do a lot of like the self reflexivities and positionalities, in the different stage. So very beginning, probably you need to follow your supervisors, especially when you conduct research, you need to get the fundings, right? So you need to think about what kind of topics the funders or your supervisors they want you to study, and what's the contribution, the potential contribution of your research. When you're conducting your research, it's not only about you or about the group of people you study. It's more about your gatekeepers, or it's all about the societies, the different societies, about the families and people around you, and the people around the group of people you want to study. And also in the last stage, like when you're writing your articles, so what kind of impact, so what of kind of contribution you want to make, or it really depends on you as a researchers. Also sometimes, especially like when you're writing some research articles, it's also about the reviewers. So for different kinds of the topic issues, so probably the people they want you to present in the different ways. So I would say those are the challenges. So especially if you study some like the gender issues, or if you study some of the marginalized group of the peoples, that's of course there are a lot of other challenges I have to face. But always it's quite interesting for me, for myself. On one hand, I have to face of challenges. Other hand, I have to find the solutions to overcome. I think it's also the procedure, it's a process for me, myself, to learn a lot of things from the Thai woman, from the single mothers, also to learn a lot of things as a human, as a researcher, to live in these societies.
Right. These are basically the main ones that you have faced, which is very admirable that you kind of built the trust within these people before you started, and, like building the trust with the children and everything. And also it was really sad to hear that these women have to kind of protect themselves as well. This is the kind of world that we are living in right now. So it is understandable for them as well. And also you abiding by the ethical perspectives, which is the usual things that we have to kind of carry on with. These are like some real challenges that these women are facing, which is probably interesting as well as I really do not know from their perspective how it might have felt for them also, and for yourself as well, doctor, for you to kind of dedicate yourself towards this research, which is actually really admirable. Moving on to the next question. What would be the key takeaway that you would like the audience to have in each of these two papers?
Okay, so what are the main key takeaways for the paper? So for my research, I think the first one is about the Thai migrants here in Hong Kong. As I said, I just want to offer a new perspective to either the general public or to the researchers, to trying to re-identify or trying to re-looking at the migrant women from Southeast Asia nowadays. Because when we're talking about the migrant women from Southeast Asia, as I said, we always have a lot of the stereotypes or the negative image about them. So we think about, the people from they are lower educated, or they come to host countries probably just for monies, or even they want to establish some relationship because they do have their own purpose, agenda behind it. So people are always trying to looking at the woman from Southeast Asia as a one group, but trying to ignore the difference, the diverse between themselves. So, in the age of the transnationalism or the multiculturalism, I think the situation has changed a lot, because we always say there are a lot of the professional migrants or the expat, from those countries. So they are working in different countries. Of course, because of their education, their socio-economic, cultural background is different. So their life experience probably is different from other migrants from the same country. So I think it's very important for us trying to change our perceptions from looking at them from the victimized to looking at themselves just more like from intersectional perspective, to looking at themselves just as other migrants in our societies. So the gender is not only a gender, but the gender is intersected, it's interlinked with many other factors. So we cannot trying to make a judgment or trying to assume the people's life the same, or just given they're from the same countries from Southeast Asia. So even like within Southeast Asia, we have different countries, we have different cultures, we have the different, the norms. So the people from Southeast Asia, they are different. Even the migrants, they are different. So I just want to, for the first paper, is my intention trying to offer a new perspective to looking at the migrants in the new age of the globalization in the current society. So this is the main takeaway of my the first paper on Thai migrant women. So for my second research on the single mothers in Thailand, I want to see my my key takeaway is I'm trying to look at to think about the single mother is kind of a category is the multiple marginalization, discrimination, and the stigmatization. So on one hand, because they face the different kinds of stigmatization because of their, as a mother or as a single mother, more is about, their education. Probably in my case, a lot of the rich, highly, well-educated single mother, they're looking down those, the young single mother or those lower educated single mother. The most important is among the single mothers themselves, they do have the discrimination towards each other. Yeah, in my case, I remember there's one like super rich single mother. She said, my husband died is from the car incident. That's why I become single mother. So for me, I think, it's not my fault. It's just probably my husband is very unlucky. But I really don't understand why those young single mother, they are not really educated. They do not have enough money to be the single mother. And how come they become the single mother? I think those young single mother who, especially and those sex worker who used to be the sex worker and now become single mother, they are the people who are trying to ruin the reputation of the single mother. So I was so shocked. I was so surprised when I hear this kind of story among themselves, because at the very beginning I think, oh, probably like we are all the single mothers, we are trying to help each other. But no, they use this kind of like we are the good single mother and they are the bad single mother. So even among themselves, they're starting trying to draw the boundary between themselves. That is something interesting, but that is something very sad, I have to say. So yeah, I want to kind of raising the social awareness to all the people, to trying to know their different life stories. And also my key takeaway I have to say is I want trying to by rejecting the view of the stigmatization, it's kind of homogeneous, analogous, and monolithic. a set of experience. I want to show like the single mother in Thailand face the multiple terms of the operation and marginalization. Um, so yeah, my study on one hand is trying to contribute to the theories of the intersectional stigmatization. On the other hand, I'm trying to also review, the government policies of the Thai government, how they look at single mother. My main finding is I find it's very interesting. I think the Thai government is trying to use one of the what I call the passive aggressive exclusion. So basically, this term is the passive aggressive is from the psychology, but the social exclusion is from the more like the social science, the terms. So that makes the government they know there are a lot of the single mothers, but they do not say we will not help them, but they're just trying to use their inactions to trying to ignore the single mothers. I was asking the government officers, I see how like why they say because in our traditional culture, in our social culture norms, so the family should has a father, has a mother, as a case. So if a single mother is not the family what we want, so even we want to help them, we know their life is suffering, so we know their life is very hard. But as a government, we cannot, openly to help them. If we do so, probably people will think about the government is trying to encourage women to be the single mother, which is trying to against the traditional, the family values, the family system in Thailand. So what I found is mostly it's the NGOs in Thailand. They're trying to help the single mothers. Of course, the government did something, but it's very limited, I have to say. So, like as a single mother itself, probably you cannot get any the social welfare from the government. But if you're a single mother living with HIV, if you're a single mother living mental illness, if you're a single mother who is disabled, because of other social category, you can get the social welfare from the government. But as a single mother itself, I have to say sorry, there's no much things the government could do to help you. On one hand, I want to contribute to the theories. Another things, I want to make some policy recommendations to the government. It's not only about the single mothers. I have to say, this kind of the things we have to improve the policies to help different marginalized group, the single mothers, LGBTQ plus peoples, so ethnic minorities, also the refugees and some seekers. That's the key takeaways I would like to offer to the audience to let them to do some reflections to think about. Starting from those two research in Thailand, in the more big perspective, what we can do. For Southeast Asia regions, for the human beings in the world. So yeah.
Right. Knowing that assumptions and also the divisions that it could happen from people to single mothers, and like learning that, there are divisions and stigmatizations between single mothers itself is kind of like new information. Just hearing about it, I think probably because you experienced, like you were living there and you kind of saw everything happening. So, and also knowing that the government is not really much help towards the single mothers because of the cultural beliefs. And yes, and the recommendations, of course, those are kind of new things that everyone could learn from and understand what type of culture and the story that they are having and how they are living also. All right, I would like to wrap up with this final question. For budding researchers who are keen on working on gender issues, what would be your advice?
What could be my advice? I would say, I'm working as a lecturer in gender studies, so we have a good team. Yeah, the Professor Sharon Bong, the Dr. Joseph Gao. So I would say, in my gender study teams, I would believe the gender, is everywhere. So the gender is not only the gender itself, but the gender is interlinked, interconnected to, your age, your ethnicities, your educations, your socioeconomic status, your family lives, your works. So gender is everywhere. So the first things I want to raise is we need to have the gender perspective to matter what kind of topic we are studying. And the second I want to say is many people are thinking about as a male to be the feminist scholars. Probably it's a little bit strange, but I have to say it's more about we need to have the gender perspective to look at everything. So to look at the power, so how the social injustice, how the inequalities, how the marginalization in our societies is caused by the gender, I have to say. But of course, we need to have the cultural sensitivities, especially when we study the gender issues in the different place. Also, we need to have the multicultural perspective, and also when we study the gender issues in Malaysia, I was to say, of course, I mean, ethnicity, the religions is something we always have to keep in mind. In Thailand, it's the same. The royal family is the king, and also the religion, the Buddhist, and also the states, I mean, the Thainess. So these things you have to always keep in mind to look at the gender from the macro perspective, from the states, from the institutional perspective to the bottom, I mean, to the people's daily life. So the gender is everywhere. I think the last things my advice is, yeah, just give me a second.
Oh, no, it's okay, doctor.
So apart from doing the research, I mean, on the gender issues, I think we have the big missions is trying to, from our research, what we want to achieve is trying to promote the social justice. As we say, the EDI week is equity, I mean, diversity, inclusion. So we can, using our research, or we can using advocates to everything from our works, from our life to promote, to make a better societies. So basically gender is everywhere, and we all can do more to make the societies is more equal to everyone. That's all my advice to studies who want to do the research on gender study.
Right. It is with their challenges as well, kind of adapting to the different cultures and the cultural sensitivity as well as understanding. And your advice is going to be very beneficial to the researchers who are currently working on the gender issues as well. I think that would be the end of today's podcast. I would really like to thank Dr. Herbary. Thank you so much, Doctor, for joining us today and giving us your precious time. And this was really an interesting chat, I would say. I definitely learned a lot from today's chat that we had, learning from different perspectives, as well as the challenges that you yourself, as well as the women, have gone through. And I really hope that our listeners have learned something valuable today. So,
yeah, much, Ramasha. Yeah, thanks for this opportunities, and also would like to thank everyone is trying to working so hard on our EDI week. Yeah, I think it's really, I mean, starting from this point, I think it will change some things, and I believe it can change some things, to make this society better for everyone. Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Doctor.